Welcome back to the A3A Podcast. I'm Nick.
Welcome back. I'm Walter.
Welcome back. I'm Justin.
Nice paneling. So we're going to jump right into the NFL this week. We got quite a few games to talk about. Another beautiful week of sports. I think we should start with the Pats and Jets.
Hell yeah, boy. Second one of the season for the Pats. Did not expect it. Well, even though the Jets suck, but I mean, the fact that Drake May went out and they still won was kind of shocking. With Brissett coming in, I will admittedly say that I did not expect him to drive them down the field and steal the game. So hats off to Brissett for filling in for May. Hopefully he's back from concussion protocol next week. But yet again, we're here talking about the Jets being terrible. Just awful.
Yeah.
Like in watching them through the whole game, like, cause I watched them like sporadically here and there throughout the season, but since it was with Pats, I watched the whole game. They are just so disorganized. There were several times throughout both halves where like they had to call timeout because it was about to be a delay game. They just couldn't get their stuff together, and it was just such a poorly run operation. It's kind of crazy, especially with Rodgers at the helm. But they just don't have it. I feel like, we talked about it last week. Oh, are they cooked? I feel like it's official. Like they absolutely are cooked, and I just don't see a path to playoffs for them.
I don't think they win another game this season.
I don't know about that.
All right, then what do you know about them? Yeah, all right then.
I know that they suck, but come on. I don't think that they have too much talent to be like with.
They have too much talent to be 2-6, and here we fucking
I
are.
agree with that, but that's what I'm saying. They have too much talent to be like 2-15, unless Rodgers just completely quits and goes.
Justin, they just lost to the fucking Patriots.
Well, don't shit on the Patriots that much. Come on now.
Their head coach just called them out for being soft last week,
and they responded.
They played the Jets.
No, I don't think they'll go winless the rest of the season. But like, I feel like, and it's not all on Rodgers, but he isn't playing well. The defense again gave up a freaking. It was at least a 70-yard drive to Jacoby Brissett in the fourth quarter when they were up. And let me tell you this too: the Patriots wide receivers are god awful. They dropped 4 or 5 passes that should not have been dropped, and they just have scrubs playing, and yet they still were able to drive down the field.
All right, here we go. Ready? You tell me if there's a guaranteed definite W for sure in these last chunk of games here. Texans.
No.
Cardinals?
Maybe.
Okay, but definitely doesn't feel good, does it?
I mean, like, I don't think you could say like a definite win for like most of these like subpar teams anyway, but like I feel like they'll still win one or two here or there.
Nah, I don't think so. I think they lose the rest of the season.
All right.
I'm just saying, you're saying it's hard to win in the NFL, and you're going on a stitch of like, oh, they have to win at least 1 or 2 more. Why do they have to?
Like, again, I just don't see Rodgers going 2-15. Like, he's not.
Did you see
like,
Rodgers going 2-6?
I mean, no, but like that's different than 2-15
Here we are.
the whole season, though.
So what? You just saw half of a season.
Well, either way, they're just not playing up to snuff, which is good for me. Fuck the Jets, and it makes me feel good that they are also still in the shitter, like the Patriots are now with them in the shitter. But overall, like I'm happy the Pats won. Obviously, they really pulled it out despite not having Drake May, and I really think if they had Drake May during the game, it wouldn't have come down to the fourth quarter. Like it would have been a much more handy win because he was moving the ball pretty well. He had a rushing touchdown before he went out with the concussion, but some encouraging things for the Pats. Other discouraging things like the wide receivers I just talked about. But they're on to Tennessee, which that could be. I have a good feeling that they could win that one because
Tennessee's
Tennessee is
perennial.
awful.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think when it comes to the Green Bay Jets, the wheels have fallen off the wagon. I don't think much is going to happen there.
I literally think nothing's gonna happen.
It's so bad. It might be the worst thing in sports right now, actually.
Other than the Yankees being down 3-0 in the World Series, as I have it on behind me.
Ooh.
At least we could afford to be in the World Series. Where's Boston?
You're right. You're right. They can't afford it because they're fucking cheap.
Nah, they're just the corner of the street, spare change in their bum ass stadium.
All right. Let's not say bum ass stadium.
All right.
It's a storied ballpark, okay?
It's shit.
Listen, it's got culture. It's got character.
Yeah. Your stadium is green and your colors are red and blue, but I guess we'll move on.
Whatever.
Anyways,
what about the end of that Commanders and Bears game with the Hail Mary?
Dude. I'm assuming you saw the Bears cornerback video, right?
Yeah.
Dude.
He said he wasn't talking shit. He was celebrating with Bears fans. And as he was celebrating with them, you could see the Bears fans starting to point backwards at, like, telling him to, like, look out behind him. Because by the time, so I was watching the Pat McAfee show, and by the time he turned around, realizing what happened, the wide receiver already 40 yards downfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and then, like, as the ball was, like, in the air, he was gradually making his way over to it. That's just, I mean, like, if it doesn't matter if you're celebrating or you're taunting.
What makes it worse is he's the one that tipped it back to the
I know. Yeah, he's the one that got his hand on the ball that ended up in Noah Brown's hands. Former Buckeye, by the way. Go Bucks. So yeah, that was a great game. Like, they really held Caleb Williams in check for most of it, and, like, towards the end, it got a little sporadic and a little feisty. But man, that's why you always watch football till the end, because you just never know. You never know if you're going to have a play like that. That it's like not once in a lifetime, but like once in a season, maybe, kind of play. And that was it was so cool to watch. Like, my jaw was on the floor, and Daniels freaking flung that thing. Like, it was a great throw.
I want you to repeat that initial statement that you said before you went on that little spiel.
You're going to have to tell me. I don't know what I said.
What you just said is, this is why you watch football to the end and don't turn it off. But I can go on record telling you that you have turned off multiple games multiple times.
I have. That's fair. But that's more for my own sanity if my team is losing by a lot. All right. If it's, like, close until the end, I'll just have, like, one eye on it and then one finger on the power button to turn the TV off so that I can work on forgetting about the game. But, that's just how I cope with my sportsdom.
Always prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
What else? This is the first thing I would have went to, was the Anthony Richardson shenanigans.
Who got benched today?
Yeah, he got benched today. I've never seen a quarterback pretty much tap out like that on a third down in a division game. I've never seen anything like that before. And honestly, my first, like, the extreme of me was like, screw him, just cut him. But you can't, because he's a second or third overall pick or whatever he was. So they did the next best thing and benched him. But I don't know, dude. That is like the ultimate, like, I quit. I don't really care. And I don't know. I've seen Peyton Manning and Tom Brady run longer runs and still stay in the next play. And they're not expected to run at all. They were never that. Well, they were obviously in better shape than he is if he's too tired to play the next snap. But that was just a wild event for football, I think. And I think it should be a lot like lot louder topic than what it is, to be honest.
I agree. And like to your point about Brady and Manning, like yes, they were obviously more in shape than he is,
Mm-hmm.
but he is touted as a physical specimen, right?
Yeah,
That's why they
did you
took
hear
him.
the interview? He had a backtrack because he said at first he was the best running quarterback in the league. He quickly backtracked because Lamar exists. And I got to be honest, Daniel Jones sucks as a quarterback. I think even Daniel Jones is a better running quarterback than he
Only he's
is.
got the wheels. He does. He can't throw the damn ball, but he can
He
run
can't throw it at all. So I don't even think he's the second, maybe even the third running quarterback in the league. So I don't even know what the heck he's talking about.
Yeah. But and another thing that I had thought about with that whole issue, which, to bring up his throwing briefly, he was 2 for 15 in the first half for like 80 something yards, which 80 something yards on 2 completions is kind of insane. But the freaking 13 incompletions, that's terrible. But this kind of brings up like a question I wanted to pose, I guess. So I mentioned Anthony Richardson is more like the physical specimen type of quarterback, where like he didn't really start much in college, and they just saw the upside that he had, and were like, we can like develop him and kind of build him up, kind of similar to Trey Lance with the Niners.
They saw Cam Newton. That's what they saw.
Yeah. So kind of similar to like Trey Lance, where he didn't get a ton of college time, but they saw the like physical attributes that he had and still took him with a high pick. So I guess my question is, what do you guys think on these quarterbacks that they don't have much experience, but teams just see like, oh, he can like run a 4.5 40-yard dash, or like do the shuttle in X amount of time, like just all those like combine stats. Like do you think it still should be weighed as much as it is compared to like actual playing time and actual on-field results?
In my opinion, no. I think the results you get on the field is sort of the end all be all. That's I get that strong opinion from watching hockey, because in hockey, there's all these advanced analytics that they'll run to Twitter and be like, oh, but this team has an expected goal for percentage of 4, but like they're getting blown out in games. And it's like, well, sure, their advanced stats look good, but it's all about the result, at least in my mind. That's kind of where I get that from.
Yeah. What about you, Walt?
So I differ from Nick's opinion a bit, because who is the guy that says, oh, he's played enough games in college to be worthy of a I guess prediction or whatever you want to call it, like against him or for him? But also on top of it, would you really have Tom Brady? Because I don't think he played too much at Michigan.
I think he did like start greater than one season. I guess that's mainly my point, not my point, but important part of this. So like I'm pretty sure Trey Lance one season is starting. Same thing with Anthony Richardson.
And then I'm
pretty sure Daniel Jones did too. Either Daniel Jones or Mitch Trubisky too.
Daniel Jones definitely played more than 1 year.
So then maybe it was Mitch Trubisky. I forget, like the Duke in North Carolina. It was one of them. So I think it was Mitch Trubisky, like kind of the same thing. He plays just one season of full-time starting, and they just see all the other things that he can do not off the field, but like in a combine type setting. And then he's drafted in the top 10.
Quarterbacks are so much in need that of course they're going to take the risks on guys that haven't really played a lot, especially if there's not a whole lot in like the top 5 in the first round. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course they're going to take risks because it's the position where people are the most desperate for. So yeah, people like teams are gonna. I think it's going to continue, and I think it should, because you never know when you're going to hit one. Like if you had a choice, like let's say you were a top 5 pick in the draft. So like, I'm not saying take the guy that has much less experience. I'm just saying if you're in this situation and you need to find somebody, then why not?
Yeah, I think it's sometimes like overrated to a point. Like if we're talking Mitch Trubisky, um, he was taken over Patrick Mahomes, and look how that turned out, right? Um, and
And
guys like
also, aren't there examples of guys that have played a ton in college and haven't worked out?
yeah, no, I totally agree with that, absolutely. But I think at times like um the physical stats are overrated compared to the on the field success, right? And obviously, there's so many other parts to this, like the fit in the system and the college that they're at, um, the players around them, just like their intangible stuff, like their leadership. All that. I know there's so many other things to kind of bring up when you're thinking about drafting a quarterback, but like I can't really think of an example where there was a guy who was drafted with what I'm kind of saying, like a Trey Lance, Anthony Richardson, Mitch Trubisky type, um, and he ended up being like pretty much successful, right? Obviously, like every quarterback has like a different journey, but like it just seems like those fail more times than they hit. But I mean, that's kind of just like the first round quarterback draft pick track record, where it's like 40% might make it. Like it's not as surefire as we might think it is.
So when you in this situation, I think a lot more about Trey Lance than I do Richardson, just because not only did he only have 1 year playing, but it was also Division Two.
Right.
So that's kind of where I would start to get a little bit wary on, but not so much if you play quarterback for 1 year in Division football, that's a successful career to me, just because it then if you looked at the percentages of that, like let's go high school players that go to college and actually get to play, it's probably a very low percentage.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's not that it's not a success, but I don't know. It's either way, it's not a good look for Richardson, and it's probably for the Colts in the Colts' best interest to start Joe Flacco, since homie can still sling it.
Well, I'm pretty sure they will.
They
Honestly,
did. They benched him. They benched Richardson today.
no, I know, but
So
if they went with somebody else other than Flacco,
yeah.
which I don't know who else they have on the roster, but
Mhm.
I mean, Flacco was doing good. I'm stuck on like what you would do with Richardson, to be honest, because
You can't give up on him yet. He hasn't even played like a full season's worth of games.
no, you
But
can't
at the
you
same
can't
time,
really
like
give up
he's
on it.
just
But
not. You know.
honestly, playing bad and then doing that are two totally different things for me, because one is easily fixable and the other is a mentality and an attitude that sometimes isn't always the easiest to
Yeah.
get a guy out of.
And that's
Right.
that. Like what he did is like a locker room losing type of move. I think like guys will say like, "Oh, I'm out here busting my ass, like playing every play on offense, and my quarterback can't do that because he's tired."
Yeah, what
That
about your
that
O linemen that literally don't come out for a snap? They're
right.
much heavier than you,
Yep.
and they're literally throwing around dudes that are heavy, basically heavier than them, because defensive linemen usually are heavier than, especially the interior of the offensive line.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's not a good look. I don't can't really talk too much more on it because I just don't know. I feel like for me, if I was coaching, it would be definitely a way too emotionally charged decision for me. Like I feel like I would make a decision on being pissed off.
Mhm.
They clearly didn't, because they gave it a few days and then they made a decision. So I if you watch Pat McAfee, I think he had a little bit of influence on it too, to be honest. Because like as a former Colts and considered a great, he doesn't usually do this, but he was talking pretty down on him. And if Pat is talking down about a player, it's pretty well deserved.
Yeah, usually he's like building guys up, and that's like
Yeah,
obviously the exact opposite we did. Um,
yeah.
Yeah, that's it's not looking good for the outlook with the Colts. In
No.
the short, I mean, obviously the long term with having Richardson.
Flacco,
still
it might
be-
look good now.
Yeah, that is the hope because I mean they have more weapons and are really a decent roster. I don't know if they would.
I don't think it'll make a lot of noise.
No, but I think that they could be a frisky team for sure.
Moving on. We don't have to talk too long about this, but I just wanted to point out the Browns beat the Ravens.
Yes, Jameis, he ate a W. Let's eat one.
Yeah. I'm not too honestly. The only other game I could really speak on is the Giants and Steelers.
Boy, that game. So Walter and I watched this game together, and it came down to the last drive where we're ignoring a horrible play the Giants made earlier, but let's get to this first, the ending. Okay, I'm jumping to the ending. We were like, how is this going to end with Daniel Jones slinging the ball? Because they're making progress down the field, and there's a minute 30 left. They're going to get a tutty. There's a good chance. Walter says, I think they're going to come just short between the 20 to 30-yard line. And I was like, I think they're going to throw a turnover. What ends up happening is they do both.
Oh, my God.
It is the most Giants thing to ever happen. And that's ignoring what they decided to do earlier in the game when they had a touchdown and they had a chance to make it a 7-point game by going for the extra point. But instead, they went for the 2-point conversion, threw a lateral ball, and nothing happened.
Did you see the play, Justin?
I did not.
Okay. So the formation was like the quarterback and like a few offensive linemen in the middle of the field, and then like wide receivers and tight ends or whatever lined up in a row like this right across the
Okay,
goal
you know
line.
what? I didn't see the play, but I saw like
The
a
formation?
screen grab of the four or whatever guys standing there,
So
and then the
was
one guy going
formation.
around him.
That was the formation. Daniel Jones throws it, and all of the guys in front of Neighbors literally just stood there and did nothing. And like for the first time ever, I saw actual like animation out of Daniel Jones of like frustration and stuff, which it's good to see, but also at the same time, it's like, bro, you're not helping at all. Like you have done nothing in the game. He threw that interception at the end there. I mean, that was he'll never figure it out. I don't know. I don't know why he's still starting. I don't know at all. The running back they have has been pretty good, actually.
Tracy Jr.?
Yeah. He's actually been pretty decent. But I'm losing confidence in Dayball, too. Like, decision to make it a 7-point game or, go for 2 and make no difference. That was like one of those plays where it's like, this is over, isn't it? It was very similar to Joe Judge's quarterback sneak from their own territory on 4th or 3rd or whatever.
But it wasn't even like 3rd or 4th and inches, right?
No, it was literally like 3rd and 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it definitely, for me at least, it gave me those vibes of like, yeah, this is it. And I don't necessarily think they should rush into be firing him, but like for example, he benched I don't remember his name, but one of the corners, their rookie corners, because he was giving lack of effort. It took you how long to bench that kid? And it's taken you how long to bench Daniel Jones, and he's still fucking playing games for the Giants?
It's crazy.
At $160 million.
Yeah, it seems like at the end of the season, they're just going to clear house. Coach, quarterback, probably GM too.
Honestly, I'd be okay if they kept Dayball for now and got rid of the GM.
I think Dayball's a good coach, and like if anything, like it's on the GM for the Daniel Jones.
Hard Knocks made it very clear who should be the first to go. And that's the G. Like, just going back to this really quick, just because we're talking about the GM. The fact that you're talking to Saquon Barkley on the phone. You're like, you literally tell him, hey, go see what your market is, but then come back to us and tell us what they're offering to pay you so we can try to match it or tell you to scram. Like, what? Nobody does that.
I think it may happen, but like just like the fact, like in their situation, it seems like, all right, we think that this is a decent offer, but like let's just see what everyone else is doing, and then we'll adjust if we feel like it's within our ballpark. But like clearly, Saquon still has it, and they can really use him right now because he honestly he's a big part of the
I
Eagles
think what
offense right
pisses
now.
me off the most is, he would have been expensive for a running back, but we're overpaying for this stupid quarterback we have.
Right. And they wouldn't be in that situation if they didn't overpay for
I
Jones. They would have more money.
I'd feel much better about Drew Lock and Saquon Barkley than Daniel Jones and whoever else they got back there.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving on. Anything? Oh, we can make our picks for next week.
Yeah. How did we do last week?
I totally forgot to tell them, or add that total them I meant to say, but I will say it doesn't look too great. Like the Rams. The Rams screwed us. The Bengals screwed us. The Ravens screwed us. And I think we were okay other than that.
Oh yeah, that I forgot about that Rams game because that was almost a week ago now. Yeah, that face mask on Sam Darnold was horrific, terrible. I don't know if it would have made a difference like in the outcome of the game because they were so backed up. But like, dude, that was just.
I can't stand when people say that though, because you never know.
No, I'm right, but like, it's not like, okay, this is the last play of the game. It's either a penalty or not, or touchdown or whatever, and it's like this play determines it. Like, no, they still had a long way to go, but obviously, like, it would help their odds to not have that happen.
Not get the safety. I mean,
but it wasn't like a right.
I just don't. Why the ref double down and say, "Oh, we can't call something we didn't see." Dude, you're right there in Sam Darnold's neck. Like, you can tell what a face mask is without even looking at the face mask. If the guy's helmet is turned around, or his neck is whipped back, it's probably a face mask.
Yeah.
Bad.
Trying to think of. I don't even know. Did we know what happened to the Chiefs?
They won.
The Chiefs won
against the Raiders.
Okay,
same shit.
Yeah, yeah, I think we can move on from. Oh wait, let's make our picks. I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Week 9. Wow, man, the season's flying by.
Oh, I like it.
All right, Texans at Jets.
CJ Stroud is gonna put up a couple tuds on him. Texans.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Texans.
It's got to be Texans.
Yeah. Cowboys at Falcons.
Falcons. I'm out on the Cowboys. Like, yes, they came back against the Niners, but just like, man, they got nothing for me.
They start too slow. I'm gonna go Falcons.
They do absolutely, and like they are missing a lot. Like, they don't have Parsons. They don't.
I should say too. This was the issue for them last year too. They would start games super slow.
Yeah. They also don't have a running game because Zeke gets like 3 yards a carry, and he's their starter.
Yeah. So. Nick.
Yeah, I'll take Falcons as well. Even though I'm not entirely sold at the Falcons, especially they have some games where they just shit the bed, but I will go Falcons.
Yeah, I could see it. Dolphins at Bills.
The Bills.
Yeah, Bills.
Tua did play decently. They ended up losing against Arizona, but Bills
Josh
are
Allen's numbers right now are pretty ridiculous. I didn't even notice it.
I think he only has one pick, right?
Yeah, 14 touchdowns, 1 pick.
I mean, he's kind of playing at an MVP level, and he needs to, considering their lack of, or I shouldn't say lack of weapons. They lost a lot of weapons.
And everyone's still talking about Mahomes for MVP.
Dude, that needs to stop. Like, seriously, we talked about it last week. He had, at least last week, I don't know what he's at this week. He had more interceptions than touchdowns, and they're not winning because of him. Like, I still think he's up there odds wise.
Raiders at Bengals. I'm picking Bengals. Joe Burrow also having a crazy season.
Yeah, and they're not winning, which is terrible. Yeah. But yeah, I agree.
Yep, I'm actually going to try Raiders for this one.
Okay.
Raiders.
Chargers at Browns.
What's that, guys? You see, and if you're listening, you can't see this on screen. That's a W. Let's eat one. James, give me the Browns.
Ooh.
You know, I was going to go the same way.
Yeah.
Did you guys see? Being Deshaun Watson isn't playing.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? I like those odds. Give me the Browns.
Did you see Jameis's pregame speech?
Oh yeah,
last game.
How could you miss those?
He's so awesome. He's like, you play for the name on your back and the decal on your helmet. Well, we ain't got no decals, but you know what I mean. He's just such a character. It's so great having him back in the starting role where we get this stuff on a weekly basis.
All right, next game is Patriots at Titans.
I don't know if I'm overreacting because I did this before.
Why is Tennessee favored?
That's what I'm saying. They're terrible. But
maybe because they're at home.
That's what I would guess. But they're favored by 3, at least last time I checked, which is I don't know, a little high. I'm going to pick the Pats, especially if Drake May is back.
I'm going to pick the Pats regardless of who's back.
I'm definitely going for the Pats. The Titans, I would never pick, to be honest.
Okay. Commanders at the Giants.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to go Commanders.
Yes.
As a Giants fan, this feels like that scene from SpongeBob where the worm comes through and eats that guy's butt, and he looks around. He's like, "Do I really have to say it?" But yeah,
love the weekly SpongeBob reference that we get on this pod. It's fantastic.
All right, Saints at Panthers. What a shit show!
This is a shit fest. Yeah, I'm just gonna go Carolina just because they're home.
I'm kind of going to go same wavelength there just because they're home. I don't really know.
Yeah, I'll also take the Panthers. The Saints have dropped 6 straight, right? They won the first two.
Yeah, so they're down 6 straight.
I think Derek Carr might be back this week, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
All right. Broncos at Ravens. Lamar absolutely crushing the season. Already has 2,000 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
Total?
Yeah, for the year.
Okay. I was about to say, there's no way he has 17 passing touchdowns. That's fuck ton.
Oh, no. He has 17 passing touchdowns.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I feel like he's playing better than his MVP. There wasn't really someone who ran away with it last year, but I feel like he's already has better numbers than he did last year.
Yeah, because usually they keep their rushing and passing stats separated. Let me just. Where can I? Okay, there's no spot for any statistics or anything. ESPN is great. You gotta love it.
We don't use ESPN. I always use Pro Football Reference or whatever it is. That's much better. It's very in depth.
Well, ESPN has all the sports that you need right here. So. All right, I'm going to go Ravens.
Me too.
I'm also going to pick Ravens, but I don't think it'll be that big of a blowout. I think it'll be close.
I think it'll be way closer than 9.5.
Yeah.
Jaguars at Eagles.
Oh, man.
This is a Doug Peterson homecoming.
Yeah, it's going to be a miserable fail. Can we talk about Trevor Lawrence is not having a bad year?
No,
1,800 yards
terrible.
passing, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's not having a bad year.
He's not. They just can't win though. Kind of a similar like Joe Burrow situation too. I'm gonna go Philly, but I think it's gonna be like a really like a 17-12 game or some.
I think it's going to be just an ugly win where they win off the biggest nonsense ever. I got a feeling it's one of those games.
Yeah, me too. I'll also go Eagles.
Bears at Cardinals.
Ooh.
I don't know what's up with the Cardinals, but they just got some weird juju going on. Where they
Call of
just
Duty
keep
came
winning.
out.
Yeah, you're right. Now I got to think about it. I'll still go Arizona, and let me just. I want to make a point. So the Cardinals kicker Chad Ryland kicked the game-winning field goal last week. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that might be his. I heard this on podcast. Maybe his third like kick that was a game winner. Maybe not at the buzzer, but he was the Patriots kicker last year, and he was fucking terrible. But I have to thank him because he missed a game-winning kick against the Giants, which basically locked them into the third overall pick so they can get Drake May. So thanks, Chad Ryland. Yeah, I'll pick the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm also going to lean Cardinals. This is going to be close.
I am going to go Bears. I think they had a wake-up call a little bit last week, and I think they're going to be a little bit more prepared this week. Lions at Packers.
This is probably the game of the week. The Lions are just on a whole nother level. I'm still going with them. I think, is Jordan Love hurt? Is he hurt again? Did Malik Willis come back in last week?
I have no idea. I didn't hear a single thing about it, to be honest.
Let's see. Yeah, at some point Malik Willis came in, and they still won.
That's wild.
Yeah, regardless. I mean, I know. Yeah, he really wasn't good at Tennessee either. Yeah, I'm going with Detroit. They're at the top of the league for me.
The uncertainty of Love kind of scares me, so I'm going to go Lions.
Yeah, Lions is for me. I'd feel stupid betting against the Lions, kind of like the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's kind of getting to that point, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Rams at Seahawks.
I'm going to go Rams since the Seahawks just got schmotzed at home.
I'm also going to go with the Rams. You seem to be picking it up a little bit.
Plus, they have Cooper Kupp back.
Yeah.
And Nakua. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and Kyrie Williams, I think he scored a touchdown in every single game this year, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Colts at Vikings.
I think this will be closer now that Joe Flacco's playing, but I'm still going to go Vikings.
I'm going to go Vikings as well.
I'm a little worried. I mean, I've been like on the Vikings bandwagon. I'm not going to lie. But this doesn't feel great. I'm still going to pick the Vikings. I think this could be dangerous for them.
They've dropped 2 in a row, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so if I were them, I really wouldn't want to drop this game. Not especially with what happened with the Colts last week. I would not.
Yeah.
Right.
Buccaneers at Chiefs on Monday night.
Chiefs. Moving on.
Chiefs.
I think that's all we need to say.
Unison.
Yeah.
All right. And that is our picks for the NFL. And we can be moving on to college football. Justin, you can start off.
All right. Well, Ohio State won last week. Hope you do. But I just think they should not have had that game as close as it was. Since Nebraska got obliterated the week before and Ohio State had a bye week after their loss to Oregon, I expect them to come out guns blazing and just lay the beat down. Because
don't forget, too, though, that Nebraska also is coming off of a beat down. So they also didn't want to. give an inch too.
Yeah, beat
So
down again.
you could say that.
Yeah. So I expected them to play much better, and they just didn't. I think there's a few things here. One, the offense couldn't really stay on the field, which led to
They couldn't run the ball.
Yeah, because they're on their second or third off left tackle, so
Yeah.
that was kind of the issue. And let me say this too. Like, it's not like Nebraska is a bad team either. I know, like we said, that they got obliterated before by Indiana, but
Indiana's also having a great year. So
exactly right. So and Nebraska is much better than they were in years past. So it's not like the typical blowout that you would see with Ohio State and Nebraska. Regardless, Ohio State wasn't able to run the ball too well, and they just couldn't get first downs, right? And then the defense, they just couldn't get off the field. Granted, they were kind of in like a bend don't break mode where they had a great 4th and goal stand after a Will Howard pick. So that was impressive, and they eventually made the play at the end with Jordan Hancock making the interception that they needed to. Now, going forward, I don't know which side I need.
But before you go forward,
yeah,
did you hear that the NCAA took back that suspension from that targeting call?
Yes, I did. Which shows wasn't targeting.
I'm glad they did it because that wasn't targeting at all.
Right. Yes, that, I mean, I would have. It would have had a bigger a reaction for me if it was someone who was like very vital to the defense. But I mean, Reese, he's been playing more and more as we've gone along, so it's good that he'll be back for Penn State for sure. But they buckled down and did what they needed to at the end to win. And one kind of criticism that they always get is they don't play close games until they're playing like a top ranked opponent, right? So obviously they played the close game against Oregon. Other than other games that they had, they were pretty much blowouts. So maybe this just puts some hair on their chest, just to pull out a close game against a decent opponent. Not on the same level as Oregon or like Penn State next week. So they have a lot of things that they need to work on. With like the defense needs to be able to get pressure consistently, and they got to be able to run the ball. But they're back in the win column, which is good.
Yeah, I agree. This is technically connected to Ohio State. Kyle McCord played Pittsburgh on Thursday night, and he threw 3 first half pick sixes, and then he finished the game with 0 touchdowns and 5 interceptions
on 64 throws too, and he completed 35. That's great.
Yeah, that was just a fun little thing. I felt like I needed to talk about that. That was pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and just something that I've seen on Ohio State Twitter is like let me just say this about this fan base is it's perfection or nothing for the most part, right? Like Will Howard, he has that mistake at the end of the Oregon game where he doesn't get down in time or doesn't throw the ball away, whatever. But regardless, he still played a fantastic game. But fans are posting like, oh, like we let this guy out of the building, like Kyle McCord, that's what I'm talking about. We let him out of the building, and then we're stuck with just Will Howard. And I'm just like, let's pump the brakes, okay?
Also,
like
McCord was throwing to Marvin Harrison, and he was still just okay.
Exactly. That's my point, right? And
Ohio State fans forget last year. Last year was not by any means an offensive juggernaut.
Absolutely not. They were not. Yeah. This year, like at least the first part of the season, they were putting up 50 pieces and scoring at least over 30 every game. Like they barely got to 30 last year. So does make me feel good to see him fail, Kyle McCord, but I won't rub it in too much.
I mean, hey, you could rub it in all you want. Vandy almost did it again.
Yes,
they did. Yeah.
I'm so upset he didn't, though.
Yeah, they really hung in it the whole time, you know. Quinn Ewers, he had a decent game, 2 picks. He took 4 sacks though. Yeah, they were just like right there the whole time, and Vandy just couldn't fully complete it. But
It was honestly that it was the one interception that quarterback threw where he like just chucked it up into the air. It was like a pretty much a punt at that point, and the guy caught it. Like I think that's what put them down by 10 initially.
yeah,
So I think if they avoid that one interception, I think they could have won it.
they could have. Yeah, but I think that I feel like this game, because up until this point and them losing to Georgia, I feel like Texas was the team to beat for the most part, and like there really isn't one team that's just like, okay, like they're the ones beat.
I could sadly, I don't think anybody has that like to them, not to their team. To be honest, I think everybody is beatable.
Yeah,
I don't think anything would be wild if let's say Oregon lost to whoever next week. I honestly wouldn't be surprised because there's been so many hiccups this season, and it literally started with like, oh, okay, Georgia's probably out because Bama just beat them, and then going from crap, Bama just lost, and now then Bama lost again, and then Texas kind of looks sluggish, and it's just kind of like a revolving door of like, I guess Oregon has looked the most consistent, so
yeah.
I guess it would be them, but
Yeah. Going forward with Oregon's schedule, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have to root for that shitty team up north, Michigan, next week because Oregon goes to the big house. So maybe they can pull off the upset. I hope. I hate to say that, but I hope they do. Then they play Maryland, Wisconsin. All right, that's a decent test at Wisconsin, and then the last game they have is Washington. So nothing. No, I don't think any of those games are like. I don't know. It would be a surprise if they lost them, but it wouldn't be like a shock. I don't think.
the way the season is going, honestly, wouldn't be surprised.
No. Like and kind of I guess the point that we're agreeing upon is that there's no team that is consistently. Yes, they're playing at the top level. They are the team to beat, right?
Like clear cut, best team.
Yeah, no, that team is not present this season. It seems like
no. Moving on. What else happened?
Navy lost.
And LSU.
I guess we'll get to Navy later.
We're gonna get to them right now. I just wanted to mention.
Okay. Oh yeah, actually, I wanted to talk about that, the A&M actually, because LSU was a team that seemed to be like kind of rounding into form. Like, oh, could they like win the SEC? But Texas A&M really kind of took it to them in the second half. Once they made their quarterback switch to Marcel Reed, it just unlocked the game. Like it was kind of crazy how easily they moved the ball up and down with him.
The quarterback looks like Lamar.
Honestly, though, but I was just looking at his stats. He only threw 2 passes, and that was it. Like he rushed it 9 times and got 3 touchdowns.
He's fast.
He's very fast.
So
he's quick. Right. So I mean, I don't know if they're going to go with him moving forward. It looks like Connor Wegman really didn't play too well. But that game really switched once they inserted Reed in there.
They know how to.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know if Texas A&M like is kind of leading the pack in the SEC, but they're definitely in the conversation of being the championship game.
They're that dangerous team that is just quiet enough where nobody's really talking about them winning the SEC, but it's kind of like in reality, it's kind of like, well, why not?
Yeah, because
every other team looks sluggish at times. Georgia, obviously, Bama is definitely probably out. Yeah. Texas looks slouchy, so you never know. All right, next top 25 matchup from the weekend was Notre Dame and Navy. Oh, I'm shockingly kind of torn on this.
I was curious to see how you felt about it. So go on.
A little bit torn between this, just because outside of this year, because the academy, well, at least two of the academies getting a lot of hype, and in previous years it wasn't kind of the story. So I was kind of hoping Navy would at least put up a fight to like kind of just solidify of like, oh, this is actually serious. This isn't just like a oh, you're in the American Conference type deal or whatever. Not that it's a bad conference, but um, in the same breath, it was nice to see them kind of get beat down. But I will say
Of course it
this.
was.
I will say this though. If Navy had 6 turnovers. I think one of them was an interception, and then the other 5 were all non-contact fumbles. So, in other words, nobody hit them that caused a fumble. They just ended up dropping it via pitch, via whatever. I think all of them were non-contact. Other than that, they were moving the ball in Notre Dame. They were moving it at times, and every time they turned the ball over, right? Then the next drive, they would start moving it. And it's like, oh, they're going to get back into this thing. And then they fumble it again. And it was kind of just like that back and forth thing until obviously it got too much. Because if you're an academy team, you're running the triple option, turnovers are going to be the death of you. If you turn the ball over, your chances go from, like, let's say just 80% chance of winning to literally probably about 3%. Like it's that bad for them, especially if they get down by more than one possession. They're not geared to start throwing the ball all over the yard. So yeah, I was a little bit mixed. Glad to see it. Don't get me wrong. Army does get their crack at Notre Dame. And honestly, after watching that game, I feel a lot better Army playing Notre Dame this year. Just because, like I said, if Navy did not have those turnovers, I think it's a very close game.
Yeah, and
If
that's
not,
actually what I was,
if not, Navy wins.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say with like the game. It seems like since they were able to move the ball, that's like kind of a reassuring sign for Army as long as they can play mistake free.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I admittedly like part of me was like hoping Navy would win because I think that like having the scenario of both of them being undefeated, Army and Navy going into the Army Navy
Yeah.
game would have been just insane. But
Yeah.
I can't say I'm displeased with the outcome.
Yeah,
With them losing,
that's
but
kinda
and,
where
and
I'm
it would have been good too. Like to your point about like seeing the academies actually put up a decent fight against a powerhouse school like that. Um, that would have been nice to see. Obviously, it did not happen because they literally just shit themselves and dropped the ball a bunch
They
of times.
literally gave Notre Dame the game away.
Right, yeah.
They
And
gave
we've
it
seen
right
Notre
away.
Dame not be too dominant too. So I feel like if you know you clean up your mistakes like that, and you could have
I
a good
promise
shot
you,
against them.
If Navy did not have those turnovers, it would have been a close game or Navy would have won.
Mhm.
All right. Move. I think that's pretty much. I don't really feel like putting any more effort into Alabama, to be honest.
I'm kind of out on them. They're just. I mean, they did play good against Mizzou, but Mizzou like was out without their starting quarterback for some of the game, and
Yeah,
they really
He
haven't
wasn't
been as good as we expected to.
back moderate. Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll go over a few notable games next for this week, I should say. Ohio State, Penn State.
Yeah, big one. Can't say I'm as confident in this one as I was at the start of the season, but it does kind of seem like Penn State and their fans are not as confident as they would like either. So luckily for me, I guess, this game is on while Walter and I will be at Air Force Army game.
Yep.
So I don't have to have I probably will still have my heart pumping in my throat from being so nervous. But this is kind of like nut up or shut up time for Ohio State. Like they really, if they want a chance at the Big Ten championship game, they got to win out. and they have handled Penn State quite well over the past few years, but I don't want that to like kind of get ahead of themselves.
Right.
Where like Penn State, like I think like pretty much all their losses over the past 3-4 years have been to Michigan or Ohio State, right? So this is like the big brother to the little brother type situation. Especially considering Drew Alar is like a game time decision apparently. I am gonna lean Ohio State in terms of like who I would pick, but I think it'll be closer than I thought at the beginning of the season because I thought that they would win pretty handily. But this is a massive game for them to kind of answer some of the doubters that they have.
Agreed. I think this is, like you said, put up or shut up pretty much. I think this game is going to tell you how far their season is going to go. I think if they win, I think they got a good chance that sky's the limit pretty much. If they lose, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for them. Because I think the reality would be Penn State and Oregon are set up to be going to the championship game. Because I don't think
Indiana.
Yeah, or Indiana, yeah.
Because now it's not division based with the Big Ten. Like it's just the top two teams. So right now it's it's kind of like a three-way tie: Oregon, Indiana, and Penn State. So like my point with Ohio State is like they got to win this one. They got to win against Indiana in a few weeks too, to almost secure their spot in the Big Ten championship, which they haven't been in I think at least 3 years. Right, and when I first started watching, they were in it pretty much every year. So it's been too long if you ask me. But again, like I said earlier with their game last week, they just have to play better on the offensive line so that they can run the ball, and they cause turnovers and wreak havoc on the quarterback. They're not able to do that really consistently, and the secondary has been up and down, especially with the Oregon game. So, hopefully they pull it out. We'll see.
Really, the only other game I kind of want to obviously touch on for this week, because there's not too much, is obviously the game we're to is Air Force and Army. Usually I'd have my alarm up for trap, like it's a trap. This year, I've never felt so good going into an academy versus academy game probably ever in my life. This is about as good as I've ever felt, which is a major league red flag.
And I don't know if you would know the answer to this, but Army is a 22.5 point favorite right now. Is that like the most that they've ever been favored against Air Force? I know Air Force really is like not on the same level as like Army Navy pretty much, but have they ever been?
But in past years, definitely this has to be the biggest spread.
You think?
I cannot think of a year where Army would have been that heavy of a favorite over Air Force. Usually it's always like a 2.5 to 4 spread. Kind of like either way, pretty much.
Close,
but
yeah.
This year, I don't know what is going on, but Air Force is just, they're not good.
They're 1-6. I didn't know that. They're 131st in points per game too. That's terrible.
They're the 6th worst team in the nation. I'm trying to just go through to see like what could have happened. And I'm pretty sure, yes, we have our cat Thea in the back.
She's joining the pod.
Let's go to Air Force statistics really quick. They are 12th in the Mountain West. That's in the Mountain West. It's usually Air Force and Boise playing for the top spot. Yeah. I'm trying to let's go as a team. Come on. Stupid fucking. There we go. Total points per game, 15.6.
Ooh.
Total touchdowns on the year 14.
Oh my God, that's what the Lions have had that in like 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh!
That's
Now,
nuts.
can someone remember those numbers? Because I want to go look at Army now.
Okay, I don't
So
know if I remember.
15.6 points per game and 14 total touchdowns.
All right.
Now let's go back.
Not a math guy, but I think I got this.
There we go. Click. Army is first in the American. Team stats. Army is scoring 40.7 points a game, and they have 39 touchdowns.
And don't blink now, but Bryson Daly he has Heisman odds actually listed too.
I couldn't believe that.
He has the same odds as Jalen Milroe and Curtis Rourke from the quarterback from Indiana.
That's insane. Just being in the same category as Milroe is nuts.
Yeah.
But
I think he's balled out, though. He really has.
To be fair, I hate Air Force. Like, Navy, once in a while, you'll probably see me like this past weekend, I kind of was hoping they'd pull it out. You'll never see me doing that for Air Force. I don't care what the situation is. If I had a choice and then going 0-12 every single year, I would do it. Okay. Every year. I can't stand them. Just have to hit plenty over the week, over the one day, actually. So good luck to you.
Yeah.
That's kind of all I got in college football. Nick, did you have NHL stuff?
There's one big thing that happened in the NHL yesterday. We saw Connor McDavid go down with a lower body injury. It looked like he twisted his ankle going into the boards. Not a good sign for the best player in the league, considering they're a roadie, and they sent him back home for further testing.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah. So him getting sent back home for testing is not a good sign.
Yeah. Also love the specificity with lower body injury. They really just don't give you anything. They don't want the doctors to give a timeline of return.
No.
You get nothing to work with. And the Oilers are having a bit of a cup final hangover this year. They're 4-5-1 to start.
Oh, jeez.
Losing McDavid is not a good sign for them.
No.
Yeah, because if they're already starting slow, there's nowhere where they're going other than down after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good, Bob. Not good.
Is there any other fancy stuff happening in the NHL these days? We don't have to talk about the Rangers right now.
Why not? Wow, what's wrong with the Rangers?
Because they're currently losing to the crap.
Bruins are losing too, and they're losing to the Flyers. So,
well, you know who isn't losing for once in my life? Just once.
Oh my God, they're up 6-0 right now. Jeez.
And just once, no big deal, just once. Before the pod started, I was watching they scored the first goal on the first shot, and Walter saw I just started bugging out. I was like, oh, because I didn't know how to celebrate.
He literally bugged out for.
I'm not used to this.
2 to 3 goals.
I don't know what to do.
The first 2 to 3 goals, he didn't know what to say. He didn't know what to do. He just reacted.
He's like, I'm not used to this.
It was funny.
This is great.
You can only bang your head against the wall so many times with this team before something good happens, and you're like, "Whoa, man!"
Whoa.
Say that
this is why I stick it out. Nick, I actually had a question for you because I was just thinking about it with the Bruins. But who are the Sens' biggest rivals?
For the Sens, gotta be Toronto and Montreal.
Okay,
and now the Red Wings is starting to grow.
Red Wings, really?
Yeah. Sens and the Red Wings have been feuding the past few years, mostly because of a guy named Alex DeBrincat, who the Sens acquired for a big haul, and he had 1 year left in his deal, but he decided not to extend with the Senators and walked in free agency to the Red Wings, who were his hometown team. And so that kind of like started some beef. But you mentioned the Bruins. I think we know the Bruins have got some big rivals in the Habs, the Leafs.
Yeah, I was thinking of who like would be the third team, and I don't know if I like. I mean, like yes, like geographically the Rangers, but I don't know. I feel like just due to their like battles over the years, I feel like the Lightning are up there too with a rival.
Lightning
Like,
are up there.
They've had like plenty of like playoff bouts. Like I remember the conference finals when the Bruins won the cup. They played the Lightning in the finals and went to 7. They've played a couple other times, I think. And they're just always a thorn in their side. It's not like I was going to say the Panthers because I think that's more recent, but I think it's just been dominated by the Panthers. So I don't even know if it's like a rivalry necessarily.
I'm so sick of talking about the Panthers.
I am too. Can't stand them, man.
You know, I think another one for the Bruins that's kind of an underrated rival is the Caps. I feel like they've gone toe to toe with the Caps quite a bit in recent years.
Yeah, I'd say so. And then, like I said, the Rangers are they're there, just the geographical Boston, New York. Who would you say your top 3 like rivals are for the Rangers?
Devils, Islanders, Flyers.
No Pittsburgh?
You wouldn't say that? Yeah, I was going to say the Capitals too.
I think those would be the first 2 out. I think honestly the Hurricanes are gaining traction with the Rangers.
They are. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're like
good
for some reason.
And honestly too, not as much now, but a few years ago we did a Lightning because all the Ranger players were going to the Lightning and winning cups. And it was just the most irritating thing ever.
Brian McDonough? No.
Ryan McDonough's one.
Oh, Ryan, not Brian. Yeah. Yeah, he was the captain, right?
Yes. I'm trying to think.
Okay. For the Rangers, he was the captain.
Callahan, who is also a Rangers captain.
That's right. Yes.
There's another. There's definitely a few more that aren't as known as those guys, though.
And we've reached the point in the podcast where we just name random players from years past. We go, oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
What's going on over there?
No way that came through the mic. Justin, you know what we're laughing at?
I feel like I have an idea.
Oh God! All right. Moving on to more NHL news. Yeah, he's on the move there. Boy, it kind of stinks in here. I don't know why. The Jets, who were 8-0, lost their first game to the Maple Leafs. That's kind of big.
Him go on the Jets. Is Andrew Ladd still on there? Isn't he a Jets player? Isn't he a Jets player?
Who'd you say? Sorry,
Andrew Ladd or something. Ladd.
Andrew Ladd. Yeah, Ladd was. He was there for a while. That's a good pick, actually.
See, that's what I'm saying. This is the point of the pod where I just name random players.
Yeah,
that's impressive though.
Oh, that's a good one.
Me, are they like okay? And this is another question I have for you, hockey wise. Like, I feel like, all right. So in the NFL, it's been the Chiefs, it's been the Bills, it's been the Ravens. They've been consistently like, okay, these are probably going to be the last teams in it towards the end of the season. I feel like that's not necessarily the same in hockey, where you just get like kind of random conference finals sometimes. I mean, the past 2 years, it's been the Panthers like in the East, like fine. But what do you like? Do you think that if there is a bit more, I don't know the word, like variety with the NHL? Parity, that's the word. Yes, thank you. Parity.
Yeah, for a long time, I thought parity was a strong point in the NHL. I think ever since the pandemic, kind of more consolidation where the Avalanche have been really good. The Lightning they were really good. They're not as great as they were at the beginning of the pandemic. Rangers, Panthers. I mean, Stars are up there, but like they haven't made it to the finals like that in a while. I think there's a lot of good parity for it. That being said, I think a lot of these really good teams consistently make it far in the playoffs, but upsets happen to these teams, and that's what creates the difference. I think we're seeing now a lot more of these good teams are all going to be in, like you said, like you have the Chiefs and Ravens, they're going to make it. Same in the NHL, these teams are going to make it, but then they get upset, and it's like, how did that happen?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
weird.
I just remember, like, I want to say it was the Kings' first cup. I feel like they were the 8th seed, and they still like made it. Like that, just like barely ever happens in the NFL, where like a wild card team makes and wins the Super Bowl. But then again, too, like you have a whole series in the NHL. It's not just like one game,
right?
So that makes a difference too, I think.
Yeah, it's less of a fluke to win a. I mean, it's not a fluke in the NFL either, but in the NHL playoff series, you have to be consistent for 4 games.
Right.
Yeah. So when the Kings won the cup that year, not only were they the wild card team, they actually came back, I'm pretty sure, and did the reverse sweep against the Sharks, where they were down 3-0 and then won the series 4-3, which is nuts.
Shout out to their goalie at the time, Jonathan Quick, a Hamden, Connecticut native. Shout out CT.
Hey, that's right.
Boy. Yeah.
Now he's on the Rangers. That's crazy.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he's still in the league. Yeah.
He's the backup.
Yeah, to Igor Shesterkin, or however I don't even know how the hell you pronounce his name.
Shesterkin.
Yeah. Walter better cough up some money for Igor.
Yeah, we did with Swayman. It's your turn now.
Fam, he turned down 88 mil?
Yeah, he turned down 11 million a season, while Swayman got 8 million a season.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say on the Shesterkin thing, other than honestly, if he goes, good for him. I got a feeling he's going to turn to another Lundqvist anyways, because the Rangers playoffs, their scoring is just non-existent. Anyways, we're rambling. NBA. Justin, you have anything on the NBA? I got to say, I tried to watch some games. What game did we watch on? We watched a few games a couple nights, but I had a lot going on this week, so I can't really remember. Jack shit. What are you laughing at? Nick!
I'm playing. I don't remember what game we watched. I think it was the Clippers and someone.
Oh, yeah, it was the Clippers.
It was the Clippers. Yeah, not too much action for us.
I don't know who they played.
No, Suns. Clippers and Suns.
Clippers and Suns. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the Suns have actually been pretty good to start the season. They're 3-1. KD is playing the way KD plays. I don't really have much faith in them, but one thing that I did kind of want to bring up was the Lakers. They are actually playing much better than expected. They are 3-1 right now too. LeBron has kind of been going out of his fucking mind and just still playing at an elite level despite being 39, 40. So I don't think that is necessarily sustainable, or it will be sustained, just because it's inevitable. Like, oh, he has, well, like just the past few years, well, he's had like, oh, here's his like foot injury that's gonna keep him out a month.
I feel like that's expected though from that age.
It is, but it's also like, this is just hypothesizing, but it might just be like kind of a planned thing, like a load management type thing, because that's like what LeBron kind of started, if you will. And Embiid has taken too far with just saying he's not playing back-to-backs and is out to start the season. Yeah, but they've actually been better than I expected. I really didn't like even see them being like a playoff team. So they've been pretty good. To my dismay, I can't stand the Lakers. Celts still 4-0. They are killing it. Last night they gave it to the Bucks, 119-108, and Peyton Pritchard, my dude, 28 points in 28 minutes played. He went off bananas. He had 8 threes. He's so good, and he's their half court shot extraordinaire. But Walt, since as you're getting into basketball, what I want you to maybe try to look out for whenever the Bucks are on TV, because like you've watched basketball here and there, but watching Giannis play, like I forgot about this until like last night when I was watching. He's just like a freak. He is the Greek freak, because like all he does essentially is he gets the ball at the top of the arc, 2 steps and he's already to the basket, and he just either dunks it in or lays it up. And he's just so like he's got such a large wingspan. He's just a crazy athlete. So I would implore you to watch him at some point, because he was the almost the only, well, Damian Lillard did drop 33 last night too, but he was a big reason why they were still in the game against the Celtics. Like he's still at such a high level. He's crazy to watch. Yeah. And then in the meantime, you can also learn how to say or spell his last name and say it.
I probably won't put any effort into that because I already know it's complicated.
It's taken me years.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. So it's hard right now, dude. With college football Saturday, NFL Sunday, and the Rangers. Like literally, the Rangers. When the Rangers are on, the Knicks aren't. But then when the Knicks are on, the Rangers aren't. So it's like literally every single day.
I know.
Almost something is happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's very. I'm trying to just catch random games more than like. Because I was going to watch the Knicks Friday night, but we went out, so I didn't see them Friday night, which they lost anyways to who they play.
Pacers. Did they win that game?
Oh, they won that game, and then they played again on Monday.
Was it the Heat?
No, I don't think it was the Heat. I don't remember who they lost to, but
Friday they beat the Pacers, and then what'd you say yesterday?
Yeah, Monday, I think. Sunday or Monday, maybe.
They lost to the Cavs, 110 to 104. Cavs are a good team, though.
Okay, so that's something.
They are good. Yeah, they got Spida.
Who?
Spida Mitchell. Yeah, actually, this is funny. Donovan Mitchell, Spida. He's like, I don't know, his nickname's Spider-Man for some reason. But he was with the Utah Jazz, and then he got traded to the Cavs. And then, like, for like a year and a half, or maybe mainly just last year, he was like, he had like one foot out the door and he wanted to go to the Knicks. But with how good they played and with them getting Mikal Bridges, he was basically stuck in Cleveland, so he signed an extension. That's at least the rumor. So he's a really good player. I like him a lot. But yeah, so I mean, like I think I told you this. Like the way I try to watch basketball is more so like obviously whenever the Celtics are on, I watch them, but whenever there's like a matchup with like players that I like, so like let's take a look. Tomorrow, like what's a good example? Spurs Thunder, right? Spurs aren't really a great team, but you see Victor Wembanyama, who is a freak of nature, and then the Thunder are arguably the best team in the West. So just kind of.
I want to know who plays Thursday.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
Thursday. So there's just 2 games on NBA TV: Bucks Grizzlies and Suns Clippers.
Okay.
So you may be able to watch those.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like kind of catching them here and there, and then once football winds down, then you're able to like kind of lock in a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I think that's the problem right now is all weekend is taken, and then
right now
the week is better. So.
Do you guys have a finals prediction, perhaps? If not, that's okay.
For the NBA?
Yes.
I'm going to go. I think the Celtics actually make the final again. To be honest, they're a well-oiled machine. A lot of people in the last playoff said Mickey Mouse run. And yeah, I can kind of see parts of that. But to be honest, they were just the best team in the league. So you can't really call it that. I think they make the finals again. The Western opponent is much more difficult for me to predict.
Definitely.
I would have been high on the Nuggets, but Russell Westbrook is not helping. Westbrook. The T-Wolves. I'm not sold on the T-Wolves right now. The Lakers, you're right, are off to a hot start, but I don't know if that's
It's
sustainable.
also a long season.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I might go with the Thunder.
Seems
Maybe.
like you stole my pick. You read my mind. That is exactly what I'm going with too.
Yeah. That's my pick for now.
Okay. So if I may, I'll go on a brief Celtics spiel. But I am picking them to beat the Thunder in the finals. I'm gonna knock on wood, so hopefully I don't jinx it. But they dominated throughout the playoffs last year. They had 3 losses total, right? And this was without Kristaps Porzingis. Granted, like each team, except in the finals of the Mavs, along the way, one of their best players, if not their best player, got hurt in each round. Jimmy Butler, Donovan Mitchell, and then Tyrese Halliburton. But despite that, they didn't mess around. They finished those series in either 4 or 5 games. They didn't like let it go to 7, right? And the Mickey Mouse title claims are I don't know if I'll say valid, but they're a narrative, right? And I think that despite coming off a championship, they're more motivated than they were last year. Tatum's pissed off from that and from being not having as much playing time on the USA basketball team. Jaylen Brown's pissed off at that and the fact that he wasn't on the USA basketball team for the Olympics. And they're just out to prove everyone wrong again, right? Like to prove like this wasn't just, us running into some good luck with each player getting, or, good players getting hurt on the other team. And just the way that they've started the season, they are so deep, they are so dominant, and they're just really fun to watch. Like every one of them can just chuck it up for 3 and most of the time make it in, it seems. So I have high hopes for them. On the West, I'm picking the Thunder because I think that they're the deepest team. They made some great additions with like Alex Caruso, who's a great defender, Isaiah Hartenstein too. But I think just a year under their belt, because they're a young team, right? A year under their belt with SGA, kind of getting some MVP love. The Jalen Williams, like they'll progress. Walter, there's 2 guys named. I'm pretty sure it's only 2. 2 guys named Jalen Williams on the same team, and it's confusing as hell. He's shaking his head.
I'd have to associate numbers, I guess.
Yeah. So I just think that they're the most complete team in the West. Now that like you said, Nick, it's tough to choose because there could be some parity there. Like, all right, maybe the T-Wolves take another step up and Ant kind of ascends. Like I think he had 23 in the first half tonight, or 23 or 24, which is really freaking good. The Nuggets are always in contention with Jokic, so it's up for grabs. But I think the Thunder are the team to beat. So I'll go Celtics over a Thunder. Walt, do you just want to throw one out there just for fun?
For fun, for my sanity, I'm going with the Knicks. I can't do this anymore. I can't have these pro teams anymore. It's just pure sanity based. It has to be the Knicks.
Okay.
That's it.
Who are they beating in the finals?
Well, I'll take your thing and I'll go with the Thunder.
Okay.
I don't really give a crap who. It just has to be the Knicks.
It has to happen. All right, I'll take it. That's fine. That's pretty much all I got for the NBA. Still, and we haven't started the NBA Cup yet, which do you know about that, Walter? I think I told you briefly about like the in-season tournament.
I was reading a bit about it last year. I think it started last year.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, so I read a little bit about it.
Yeah, those games didn't start yet, but that's at least gets a little bit interesting. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I got.
That's all I got too.
When it comes to the Celtics going on another run this year, one more thing. Jason Tatum wants to beat the corny allegations after that interview when he won. You know what I'm talking about, Justin?
I know. He's not corny.
He's coming back. He's getting redemption for that.
Dog, like
was that the what did he yell? He yelled something and everyone called him corny for that?
We did it. Yeah,
we did it?
Yeah.
Didn't somebody else do that?
Well, Kevin Garnett, when the Celtics won in 2008, he said anything's possible, and he was like screaming up towards the rafters, like, fine, whatever.
I will say it did look very, very like planned.
Probably.
Like Like, I think he went into that series. If they won, he knew he was going to do that.
Yeah. Let me just say though, like, yes, he's out to prove the not corny allegations, but like all the Twitter trolls saying that he was carried to a championship, dog, he led the team throughout the playoffs in points, rebounds, and assists. How is that being carried? I'm sorry. Like, yes, Jaylen Brown had amazing plays, like the game tying 3 that he had against the Pacers in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Pretty sure in one of those Eastern Conference Finals games, Drew Holiday had a steal that basically sealed the game. But Tatum freaking led the team in all the important stats. Like, how is that being carried? That's, I can go on forever about that.
Because
But
it's Boston.
yes, I know.
I honestly think that's why.
I mean, it's part of it, yeah. And now I keep seeing like article headlines that's like, did the Celtics break the NBA because they just keep winning and shooting a million threes?
I think they're going to change it for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Warriors
do
did
think
in just like the taking more
3-point play.
threes. Yeah.
Anyways, anybody got anything else?
I think I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, then that's a wrap.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace, y'all.
See you guys later.
See ya.